if you want to ask me anything about anything, feel free to let me know what you'd like to know. And before I begin with that, though, I'd like to tell you some big things sort of happening in the market right now. There's a general consensus that the stock market could be what they call overbought. And that means pretty high. I think the Dow has hit record highs about 40 times this year, which is an insanely high number. And most of the indicators say that there could be some sort of market decline just based on that fact alone, just based on the fact that what goes up comes down. My wife references these hermetic principles, and that is true. The stock market does that. The stock market will it will drop on you, and I want you to be ready for that. So so one play you could make is you could consider doing something similar to what we do in stock options class. You could go ahead and buy you a put. There's a ticker symbol SPY, which is the S&P 500 Spider Index. You could buy you a put on that Spider, and to pay for the put, you could actually sell a call option on your on SPY. But to do that, you'd have to have 100 shares in order to sell a call, but you could buy the put without having any shares at all. And so that's something that you can feel free to take a look at. The put gives you that downside protection. Selling the call helps you pay for the put. And then also, if you had a little extra, you could actually buy a call option with it that's out of the money and actually sort of participate if the market does keep on going up. So if that confuses you, if that doesn't completely make sense, feel free to join our options class. You can go to drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com, and there's some great ways to make income by selling cover call options and stuff like that. All right, so what's another thing that I saw that really got my attention? Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, issued a pretty dire warning about the market as well. He says that right now you're kind of in this weirdly calm market where everyone's feeling very comfortable. And he was mentioning something that I've mentioned to you all before, that could change pretty quickly. That can all sort of just go away very fast. And if there's a catalyst, um, if there's a catalyst, the catalyst that could cause that to happen is the stuff going on in the Middle East. Has anybody been following that? Give me a yes if you've been following all the bombing that's happening right now. Lebanon just got bombed in a really terrible way uh, in this war between Israel and Hezbollah. And so apparently this stuff is getting pretty intense. And if this conflict becomes wider spread, it will immediately affect oil prices, that's for sure, but it could affect economic stability at a very high level across the board. Now, if you stick around to the end in a little bit, I'll mention a stock that I like that you can take a look at that I just bought that you're welcome to consider. It's not me. This is not investing advice ever. You guys know that, but it is something that I just bought. So I'll talk to you guys about that. What do you think about Poet on the AI space? I put it on my watch list. Um, Poet. Okay, Poet. Let's see here. Let me see. Okay, let me see what I can um let me see what I can find here. So Poet is an interesting ticker symbol. I've never heard of Poet. There's thousands of stocks out there, so nobody can memorize all the stocks that are out there. Okay, it's a Canadian-based developer and designer of advanced photonic and optoelectronic solutions. Okay, so the company's had big growth in revenue recently. Let's see, they've designed some really interesting optical engines. The stock's gone up quite a bit, 225% in the last 6 months. And they have a decent cash position, but they are losing lots of money, which is kind of problematic. However, with the right partnerships, a company like that could do well. So while it's impossible to predict what a stock is going to do, I wouldn't necessarily blame you for taking a look at it. It might be an industry that you want to be involved in. I'd say if you like an industry, I would diversify. I would never put all my hopes into one stock. You don't treat a stock like a wife. You don't marry a stock and make that you don't become monogamous with a stock. You're supposed to be polygamous with stocks. Now, in marriage, you're supposed to be monogamous, but in investing, you're supposed to be the exact opposite of that. And that means you play the field. You plant lots of seeds. Get out there. All right. So anyway, weird analogy, I know, but it's true. Diversify. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. All right. So, would you take a look at the ticker symbol LUN in LUNR? Okay. Let me see what I can find out about Lunar, and I can give you my assessment. Um, okay. So Lunar. Okay. Let's see. Intuitive Machines. Okay, it's a space exploration infrastructure company heavily involved in lunar exploration. Um, okay. So they have a big contract from NASA. Okay, that's good. Hopefully NASA won't let them go out of business. You know, Boeing has massive contracts with NASA, and Boeing is just horrible. They literally got twice as much money as SpaceX back, 13 years ago. And SpaceX has gone back and forth to space multiple times. Boeing, I don't think, has done it once, successfully in terms of taking astronauts up there. They don't even trust astronauts to get on Boeing ships. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with that company, but it's insane. And they're still in business. I don't know how many screw ups Boeing has to have before they're just gone, but they're still operating. So maybe with the government having your back, you're able to stay in business. It's very weird. Let's see here. So the stock has gone up more than 50% or gained 200% this year. And after the NASA contract, it went way up. There are concerns about what they call shareholder dilution because space missions are expensive and capital intensive. And also when if they're releasing more stock to pay for that, that can dilute the value of the shares. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Richard Watkins says, Dr. Watkins, how come on Investopedia the gains are only reflective in cash and not the balance of one's overall portfolio? Actually, Richard, I think it is reflected in the value of your portfolio. Amani's in here, and I think you're talking about our Black Investors Cup. Yeah, she gives me a leaderboard every week, and that's the overall value of the portfolio. But Amani, I know Amani's in the chat. I think she is. If you're here, can you check on that and maybe give a response? That's a good question. I can look into that. I didn't know about any issue like that. What are your thoughts on private investing in a company? Let's see, Energy X. Let's see here. Is it riskier than public? Yeah, Nicole. I don't like private investments that much. I think that that's good. That's good for you if you have money to burn and you have plenty of time and you don't mind your money being locked up for years and years and years. I don't like private equity investments. I just don't. I'm not saying that they're bad. This is not my style. And because I don't like waiting for years to get my money, I want to be able to cash out when I'm ready. And the stock market lets you do that. Whereas a lot of the private equity investments don't. And also, there sometimes, there's like this whole fairy tale about the startup lottery ticket where you invest a little bit of money and it flips into something big. Like you hear, oh, Jay-Z invested in Uber and he made, billions of millions and millions of dollars. That's true, but most startups don't succeed. So most private equity companies or venture capitalists, let's go to venture capitalists, they invest in a lot of the private equity companies um, and they don't they expect most of them to fail. They have kind of a weird strategy where they'll invest in 10 companies and expect nine of them to not pan out to anything. And but they're hoping that that 10th company will make up for all the losses of the first nine. I don't like to invest like that. That's not fun for me. So I would say if I was to invest in a private deal, which I have, I've done a lot of them, it's more so based on passion and my desire to support the project, and that's it. Dr. Claude Anderson, for example, there's a movie coming out about Dr. Anderson. I invested in that movie because I like Dr. Anderson and I like Powernomics. I did not invest in the movie because I'm thinking it's gonna flip and make me a whole lot of money or anything like that. And so maybe if it's something that you're interested in, or maybe if your investment gives you some sort of special access, or if it's something that you really care about, then maybe that's worth doing it. But if you're doing it just to make money, I don't think it's a good move most of the time. My best private equity investment right now, that I make, and I'm using the term private equity very broadly. I'm talking about private capital that's where I have equity stake. That's what I'm referring to. So there's different, there is angel investing and all these other terms that are out there that could be applied. But anyway, my best investment in that space was a company called TribeVest, and I put $75,000 into the company. And what I heard is that 75,000 is turned into a quarter million. That's beautiful, great, wonderful. But what you should know is number one, I haven't gotten my money back, and it's been like 5 years. I don't like waiting 5 years for my money. I just don't. Number two, a lot of the other investments I've made, some of them in the Black community have amounted to nothing. I was an investor in the Tulsa real estate fund. I lost all my money there. I was an investor in a couple of other projects that I won't mention because they're not public and I don't really feel like bashing anybody, but that didn't amount to anything. And it's just not, it's not, it just doesn't, the things I like to invest in are things I can put my hands on, things where I'm actively involved. Those investments have done well. And also those are the types of investments that have a benefit that goes beyond money, right? Where you could say, I invested in this business with my daughter or something, and we built this great family business and it's allowed us to get closer to each other. But outside of that, then you might say go into real estate. I made some real estate investments. There was a real estate investment where I made money. And I sold it though. I sold it and we bought some property in Chicago, my wife and I did. We owned it for 4 years. The value grew by 40% in 4 years. So we were happy with the ROI. And then we had a tenant in the space that we bought. They paid their rent most of the time. It was fine. It made a profit, but we sold it. And we sold it because we were like, we want to make our money, but we want to make our money in a way that's comfortable for us. Or as my friend Pastor Troy, I think was it Lil Troy or is it Lil Troy or Pastor Troy, the one who made that song? Remember that song? Making money to fly away. Gotta find a better way, better way. Anyway, so I think it's Lil Troy. Is it Lil Troy? That was one of the best songs ever. I want to be a baller, shot caller. So anyway, RIP to Lil Troy. I met Lil Troy, Willie D, who's a friend of mine. He was in my wedding. He invited me down to an event he had, and Mike Epps and DL Hughley. A lot of interesting people were there. And yeah, this little guy came up. He said, "Hey, Dr. Boyce, how you doing?" I said, "How you doing, man?" He said, I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm a rapper." And I said, "Really? What's your name?" He said, "Lil Troy." And I didn't know his name. And he said, "I made a song, wanna be a baller, shaka." I said, "Oh my God, I love that song, man. That's a great song." And so he was a great guy. We only talked for about 5 minutes, but he's B1, smart guy, smart brother, and I was really sorry to hear that he passed. But anyway, so me and my wife, we wanted to make our money the flyway, and meaning like, and to be more specific, you want to make your money in a way that works for you. You know what I mean? Make your money in a way that's going to make you happy. Like, don't just do stuff just for the money. Especially when you talk about starting a business, don't just start a business because you're looking to make money, because the money will not motivate you on the difficult days. The money, if especially if the money dries up, or if it's just something that you absolutely hate, make your money in a way, make your money the flyway, where you are making money doing something that gives you benefits that go outside of money. Remember, money is not the only benefit of your economic activity. Money should not be the only thing that you're using your time for. Your time is valuable. Your time on this earth is short. So use it to make it in a way that works for you. So we sold the property, and we decided that we can make just as much money just buying a bunch of stock and selling the options on the stock. Actually, we make twice as much money doing that, and it's less work, and it makes us happy. So that's kind of the journey there. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at different investments that are out there. Just because it's going to make money doesn't is that's not enough reason to pick that investment. You've got a million different things. It's like picking a spouse. When I was picking my wife, I met a lot of great women that could have been my wife who would have done a great job. And if somebody was to say, "Well, what's wrong with her? Why wouldn't you make her your wife?" Well, it'd be because I can't marry more than one person. I'm not going to marry more than one person. So you're qualified for the job, but you may not be the best fit for this particular job, because being the wife of Boyce Watkins is hard work. So that's the same way I think with your investing. You're going to run into thousands of projects and ideas that are going to be great and extraordinary. Pick the one that works for you, but not similar to a marriage. You're not supposed to be monogamous. You're supposed to diversify, spread out, and that way, if one investment doesn't go well, you're still going to be okay. All right, so let's see. I was told it's time to buy crypto, Casper coin that will triple your money in 90 days. Don't do it, Antonio. Don't lose your money. Not investing advice, but I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Anybody who promises that they're going to triple your money in a short period of time or double it and all this other nonsense, that's just remember a simple rule of investing. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So don't ever get caught up in the get rich quick schemes. That's how people get your money. Scamming is growing, because especially with AI, scamming is higher than it's ever been. They're going to hit you with scams that you would not believe. I literally, and I hate this, but there have been people that follow me who have lost over who've lost over $1 million combined. The one lady lost $250,000 because there was a guy who said his name was Boyce Watkins who was messaging her back and forth and told her to invest her money in a crypto platform that looked legitimate and told her that her money was going to triple or double in a few weeks. And I felt so bad when she told me that. And I can just tell you right now, I do not crawl in anybody's DMs. So please do not ever think that that's me. That's not me up in your DM. The only DM I crawl into is my wife's. All right, so let's see. Wylon Gidry says, can you use long 2026 calls on SQQQ as a form of portfolio insurance? Um, yeah, I don't see why not. Um, it's kind of insurance, right? You're kind of locking in your long-term gains and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're kind of putting a limit on your gains as well. So never forget when you sell a call option, it's a very conservative strategy. You are gathering money, and it could be a form of portfolio insurance. Um, but at the same time, it's also something that is going, if there is a decay in the value of SQQQ over time, that could be a problem in terms of your losses outweighing your gains. So remember that when you are selling an option on something, you are also sort of required to own that asset. You have to hold the hot potato the entire time. And if the potato gets too hot, then that could really burn your skin. All right. So in other words, asset prices can go down. So if I sell a call saying, okay, I want to just go ahead and insure my portfolio by selling this long call, I got to own that stock for the entire life of the call unless I buy the call back. So that's the challenge you have. All right, so let's see. Justin says, I wanted to purchase a call option on Apple with a 230 strike with a December expiration date. My thinking is that as Apple Intelligence becomes available, more people will buy new iPhones. I also want to sell a put on Apple. Does this sound like a good move? Okay, so you're bullish on Apple, Justin. That's what this sounds like. You're buying a call, you're selling a put. You believe in Apple. Nobody can predict what Apple's going to do. However, Apple has a few headwinds. One is they're selling far fewer phones in China. There's a lot of competition. Their market share in China is just being eaten up. A lot of American companies are getting booted out of China. China's kind of doing like kind of a B1, a Chinese version of B1, except it's C1. They're China first, and they're basically saying, "Get out of here, Americans. We don't even want you here." So Apple's having a hard time operating in China. They're having a hard time selling phones in China. Huawei's coming out like gangbusters. And even with Apple Intelligence, there are doubts as to whether or not Apple can really truly create the absolute best phone. So I don't exactly know exactly where Apple's going to get their growth. I also know that outside of America in the EU, Apple's getting a lot of pushback for basically being violating antitrust law. So, because they got one of their revenue drivers is that Apple Store, where they take an ungodly cut out of the revenue of thousands of companies that put apps in their app store. And the EU is basically saying that's BS. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. So, that is another issue that could actually cause problems for both Apple and Google. Both Apple and Google are pretty much monopolies. Now, the Europeans are more serious about challenging on that. The Americans have talked about it. If Kamala Harris becomes president, I believe they're going to continue to really push this issue. I don't have any problem with that at all because I do think they have a little bit too much monopoly power. And so, do I think Apple is a terrible investment? No, I don't. But I would not sort of sit on it and truly hope and expect that Apple's going to do great. Maybe to hedge your bets a little bit, maybe you wait until there's a bad day in the market because there is going to be a bad day soon. Maybe that's when you go and make your move with Apple as opposed to doing it on a good day, right? I don't like to buy on a good day. I buy on the bad days. Now let's see. Someone's asking about MQ. Okay. Marqua, it's a global payment platform that focuses on modern card issuing and embedding finance solutions. The company is gaining attention for its partnerships with fintech innovators. Okay, like including Square. Okay, so basically the company had revenues of 125 million. That's very, very low. That's a small business in the white people world. So their annual revenue has actually gone down, which is kind of weird. The analysts see potential upside in the stock with an average price target of $7.07, which is a 37% increase from the current price. Okay, so that's not bad. I mean, that says the analysts like the stock and they have some recent collaborations with Visa and Affirm. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm not telling you to buy it or not buy it. I'm just saying why not? I wouldn't get mad at you for it. So yeah, MQ, sure, why not add it to I add it, why not add it to your portfolio? Now, if you want to know the stock I just bought today, feel free to take a look. Not investing advice. Bloom Energy, Bloom Energy. And the reason I picked Bloom Energy is because I read some reports on it, and this company seems well positioned to take advantage of what I believe is going to be an energy shortage over time, particularly related to the building of all these data centers, and also with the issues with the Middle East. I think right now Lebanon and all that stuff. I feel like that war. I have a bad feeling about that war between Israel and Hezbollah. It's really a proxy war between the United States and Iran. We're funding Israel, they're funding Hezbollah, at some point it's gonna spill over and it's gonna get messy. So, if we all survive, then you'll make money. But if somebody decides they want to launch a nuclear missile or something, then all this stuff won't even matter now, will it? All right, so let's let's keep going. I'm laughing out of nervousness because that actually bothers me quite a bit. All right, so Stefan says, I just finished purchasing 100 shares of AT&T. Good for you. I don't have puts yet. What do you think of the stock? I think AT&T is just a solid company that knows how to make money. I don't know what their dividend yield is, but I'd be willing to bet you they pay a nice dividend. AT&T does not come off as a growth company, though. It's not going to make you rich, but it is the kind of company that can keep you rich. It is the kind of company that is expected to consistently make money. Yeah, so their dividend, yeah, their dividend yield, I'm looking it up, is 7.5%. That's really high. That's really good. And high dividend yields are going to matter once the interest rates start dropping, because what's going to happen is that money they're paying you at the bank for your savings is going to pretty much be obliterated. It's not going to be worth very much. But the dividends that you can get from owning certain stocks could be, as high as they were during the period of high interest rates, right? So AT&T, they do have a lot of debt. They have a lot of debt from their previous acquisitions and restructuring efforts. They also have a challenge with growth. They really can't grow that much, and I was mentioning that now. And they're getting competition from Verizon and T-Mobile, et cetera. They are investing heavily in 5G, which could be potential growth, but it's like, so I would say, in general, I think telecom is a good sector. You may want to consider adding some puts. Um, adding some puts in a way that will protect you from the downside. And and the big thing about that, and the reason I think puts matter right now, is from what we talked about in the very beginning. Remember, I was telling you that Jamie Dimon is pointing to what's happening in the Middle East as well, and he's basically saying this could be a catalyst for a market decline. The market's waiting for a reason to fail. The market's waiting for a reason to go berserk. The market is like a guy standing on the street corner who's tweaking, where you look like if you just touch him or say hello, he's going to just go off and pull out a machete. So the market's like holding on in terms of just trying to remain stable, and everybody's cool. But one little thing, one little catalyst can cause that market to just go berserk. So you may want to go ahead. And remember, we talked about buying your umbrellas in the sunshine. You don't buy your umbrellas in the rain. So getting those puts in place, maybe those stop loss orders, things like that, protect some of those gains. Taking a little bit of cash off the table would be a good strategy. I pulled some cash to the side because I'm just waiting for the market to have a bad day, and that's when I'm going to go shopping. All right, I'm not buying much stock right now. If you want to know what stocks I'm interested in, the stocks that I like, just log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com, and you can find some of the stocks that we have in there that you can take a look at under what Dr. Boyce is buying. So that's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Carolyn Powell, should we consider for new beginning to invest in metals, water, and energy? Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything sort of significantly special about that particular style of investing, but I mentioned energy actually. Energy is the only one, right? With energy, I mentioned to you all that there is kind of like this shortage that is expected to happen. And so I am invested heavily in that. Things like copper, COPX, that's an ETF I purchased. That's the ticker symbol, COPX. And then also I'm waiting for Kamala to become president so she can go ahead and legalize cannabis and stuff, because I feel like that's the signal, the bat signal she's been sending us for a while. And so I think she's going to be president. I don't think Donald Trump's going to win, and I don't know if he even wants to be president. Um, so I apologize to the Trump supporters in the building. But if it makes you feel any better, I'm not fully sure of Kamala, how black Kamala is, and I don't think she cares a whole lot about things like reparations and stuff. But I don't think that that should disqualify her in terms of her comparison to Donald Trump. But I will say this: when you talk about investing in metals, energy, water, things like that, metals are known as a good inflation hedge. So if you buy things like gold and silver, stuff like that, those are kind of what they might call safe havens in case there's an inflationary problem. Things like copper, lithium, cobalt, etc have really good industrial use, et cetera. Now, water, there is a scarcity issue with water that's kind of emerging because of climate change. A lot of populations are growing, so the ability to produce clean water has been affected. Water doesn't have any substitute, so that's kind of a big thing. And so a lot of governments are investing heavily in water infrastructure. And overall, I would say that if you look at the sort of global trend, sort of us moving towards sustainability, because we got to save the planet because we're killing the planet every day, the advancements of technology, things like that. I think that those are good investments. Water, energy, and what was that? Third one, metals, right? I think all of them can have value. If you talk about metals like gold, though, gold does not make you rich. Gold will keep you rich. So gold, the price of gold, if you'd invested in gold, say 2016, you would have made some money, if you'd held the gold and bought more and all that. But you would have made a whole lot more money if you'd invested in Apple or invested in Bitcoin or just invested in the S&P 500. So gold is not, sort of the king of money makers. Let's see. And speaking of that, if you log in at drboyceprime.com, I did make a list of Dr. Boyce money makers in terms of stocks you can sell options on and generate income from. So feel free to log in at drboyceprime.com. We are going to have a Prime meeting soon, and I'm going to answer some of your questions in terms of what options you want to sell and stuff like that. So get ready this week. We're going to have an options class soon. I'll text you guys the link when it's time to start class. If you want to get notified, text the word options to the number 87948. So make sure you get on the list. Text options to 87948. Carrie Matthews says, good morning. All greetings from Los Angeles. I'm reaching out for a mentor. Anyone? Okay. So Carrie's in the chat. Carrie's looking for a mentor. First off, I want to be the first volunteer to be your mentor, Carrie. I cannot meet with you. I cannot call you. I cannot do that because I'm just too busy. However, I care about you and I'm right here every morning. Every single morning, we do Money in the Morning financial consciousness training. You can literally see my big old head every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to join, that's free, completely free to the community. You don't have to pay money. You just have to pay attention. And if you want to be invited to Money in the Morning, just text the word morning to 87948. Okay. So text morning to 87948 and we will talk every day because I believe that you want to form habits that are going to make you into whatever you want to be. And the best way to form a habit is through consistent repetition. That's how you literally brainwash yourself to be you're the absolute best you can be. And so that's the one thing I can offer right now. And I find some people see that as a good way to kind of get in the flow of what we're trying to do economically, just in terms of being better people, right? But then also, I'll just be around in general. So, and you're also welcome to come to the All Black National Convention, which is October 25th through the 27th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to join us there. Allblacknationalconvention.com. It's kind of our big think tank where we have a lot of fun and also learn a lot. All right. So, Antonio Thomas. Do you have crypto as a part of your portfolio? Are you familiar with Casper? I don't know Casper. I do have crypto. Most of my crypto is Bitcoin and Ethereum. I know there's other cryptos out there, but I feel like crypto has just been so chaotic. I owned that one crypto that was in court for years. XRP. I owned XRP and it was making money, but it was locked away for years. And as soon as the court case cleared everything up, I sold it. I just sold because crypto's just kind of a strange space. I believe in it though. I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in Ethereum. I believe in a lot of the other projects, but I think crypto's kind of lost some of its swag because of some of the chaos. I think Sam Bankman-Fried set the whole crypto industry back so much, because he was really seen as like a king of crypto, almost like having the power of like a Federal Reserve or something. And for him to make the mistake that he made, I think just really rattled that whole space. So the cryptos that I own are Bitcoin and Ethereum, ETH. Just look up ETH, ETH. and you can find it that way. Not sure if you said Lunar was okay as a company to invest into. I think you moved to another question. I don't give investing advice, but I remember I did not dislike it. I thought it was fine. I wouldn't be mad at you for adding it to your portfolio. But I think I was mentioning don't get so overcommitted to one stock though. Don't treat a stock like a girlfriend. You can have more than one. It's really okay to play the field, or it's okay for you to get out there and spread your seed a little bit if you want to. Ladies too, y'all can just with stocks, you don't have to be monogamous. All right, so make love to all of them. All right, so Roy, not all of them, but but don't pick some good ones though. Don't catch no financial STDs. All right, so Roy says, "Good afternoon, Dr. Watkins. I'm new to Prime and I have about 2,000 to invest. What would be the best way to invest in an option and generate some income?" I would go to that moneymaker grid. I think that and some of the stocks are not now 2,000 is not as much capital as you might want to have. I think closer to 10 is a little bit better. But if you get a margin like through Robinhood, you can do Robinhood Gold, sign up for margin, activate your margin so you can have more capital. And then you can look at some of the lower cost stocks. I think that what was it? Clean Spark, CLSK. That's not too expensive. That's under $10. So because you have to buy 100 shares of a stock in order to sell options on it. So if your goal is to generate income, remember inside Prime, there's like kind of that three-step process of setting up your portfolio. You buy the stock, buy the puts, and then sell the calls. So remember that in addition to buying the stock, you have to buy some protection to protect your portfolio to keep yourself safe. So log in at drboyceprime.com and you can sort of go through that process. There's a ton of stuff there. And you may want to start with Prime 101 and also the Moneymaker Grid. The Moneymaker Grid has a bunch of assets that are there. Some of them are relatively cheap. With a low capital base, you may have to go after the cheaper stuff in the beginning and build up. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna answer one more question, then I'm gonna bounce out because I actually have to go and handle some important business. So I apologize for not being able to stay as long as I want to. So Andrea, you get the honor of asking the last question. What's the best way to learn how to invest and sell options? I'm enrolled in Black Money 101, 102 in the stock market mini class. I feel like I'm all over the place trying to figure out the best way to learn. Can you provide the best learning plan? Thanks. Great question, Andrea. So let me tell you about Black Money 101. Black Money 101 doesn't cover options. It is an introduction to the power of money. And for anybody who's interested, you can go to blackmoney101.com to take a look. It's really kind of introducing you to a lot of financial concepts, kind of getting you ready to just understand economics in a broad sort of space. 102, that class, Black Money 102, is how to invest in the stock market. And to keep it from being confusing, I don't really cover options in Black Money 102 because covering stocks and all the dynamics of stocks is a job within itself. There's a lot there in Black Money 102. And so that's pretty much stocks. And same thing now, stock market mini class is a mini version of 102, right? So it's stocks. Now, if you want to learn options, the best options class that we have in the Black Business School can be found at drboyceprime.com. Dr. Boyce Prime, Prime. In Dr. Boyce Prime, Dr. Boyce Prime, that class covers everything you want to know about options. It starts you from the beginning where you know nothing. Like what is a call? What is a put? How does that work? We go into selling calls, selling puts, buying calls, buying puts. We talk about different strategies, strangles, straddles, butterflies, condors, just all kinds of stuff. The Greeks, all the different Greeks. And then also I show you guys exactly what I'm doing with my portfolio. I tell you what stocks I'm selling options on and how that works and stuff like that. So that if you're into options or want to be into options, then drboyceprime.com would be a great place to start. And Omani's in the chat. Maybe she can provide a link for anybody that wants to go take a look. It's a great program. Some of you are in it, so feel free to share your honest assessment of the class because that class is designed for one purpose, to not just teach you options, but to also to really make sure that you can earn income with your option strategy. So that's the pathway I'd take if I wanted to learn options. I mean, but we have other option stuff, but that's kind of the main hub if that's of interest to you. All right. Do I also do crypto? We do have some crypto stuff in the Black Business School. If you're looking for something in particular, you can email our support team. We have a great support team and they really care about you and they're going to treat you right and do right by you in every way. So feel free to email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Okay, and you are welcome, Andrea. I see your thank you in there, and I'm sorry if I didn't get those last couple of questions. Andrea, that's going to be the last one for today, only because I got to get to the post office, guys. I got to go. You know what happened? I mailed my passport in to get a new passport. I'm so mad about this. Let me tell you what. Okay, I had to get my passport renewed and I had to send in a cashier's check for the fee. And so I go to the post office and I package everything together, and I'm not real good with details. When I finished my dissertation, I kid you not, my one of my committee members said, he said, your work is good, but you're gonna have trouble with detailed stuff. Because I'm not a detail, I like to think I'm a big picture visionary type person, or I don't know, maybe I'm making excuses. But anyway, because I'm not good with details, they had a little checklist at the end. Make sure you include this and this and this before you close the envelope. I went through the freaking checklist. Check, check, check. Do you know what they didn't put on the damn checklist? They didn't say include your money order for $150 or whatever. So I forgot the money order. So I mailed it in. I mailed my whole passport in, and I realized I forgot it. And I told my wife, I said, what's going to happen now? They have my passport, and I forgot to put the money in there. So you know what these SOBs did? They sent me back the passport, and they're like, you forgot to pay your money. And I'm like, well, you forgot to put the damn money order on the checklist. So I'm mad right now. I'm really mad about that. So I got to go do that. That's why I got to go. So not that y'all even cared about any of that, but just know we all frustrated up in here. So anyway, y'all have a good day. God bless you, and I'll check back in with you later. Don't forget tomorrow morning we're also going. Somebody said breathe. You're right. I do need to breathe, Tantra. Thank you. See, black women be taking care of you, don't they? They just love you. They just want to make sure you're all right. Come on, black man. Take your blood pressure. All right. So anyway, we will tomorrow morning. We're gonna meet for class Money in the morning. We do this every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you want to be invited, text the word morning to the number 87948. Also, my wife, Dr. Alicia, is a mental health specialist, a full professor of social work, and cares deeply about mental health. So she does mental health Mondays as well as some other stuff. So if you'd like to be notified of what Dr. Alicia is doing, you can text the word love to the number 87948. So text messaging is a better way for us to reach out to each other because social media is up and down. I have millions of followers on different platforms on social media, but what would happen is that if you talk about black stuff too much, they'll just take you down. And our Instagram, I had 700,000 on Instagram. It just disappeared one day and we couldn't get it back. We didn't know who to talk to. So I said, okay, let's find a more secure way to connect with people. So text messaging we find is a much more efficient way for us to connect with you. So just text the word love to 87948 and we'll hit you up. And don't worry about me losing the 700,000 on Instagram. I had millions in other places because I kind of expected that to happen anyway. So anyway, guys, have a good day.